This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma, updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com, and if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Scorpio and Scorpio rising. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon eclipse in Taurus, happening on the 8th of November at 2 minutes past 10 p.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. How was your solar eclipse, Scorpio? Is everything okay? Are you feeling embodied? Are you feeling activated? I hope so. Eclipses are a very intense time, and especially to have an eclipse in your first house might be something very sort of deep and important to go through. There may have been some signposts that revealed themselves for you as far as your soul journey, what it is you're here to do in this lifetime. Now, to look at the other end of the spectrum, from the first house to the seventh house. The seventh house is where we form relationship. It's where we come into alignment and agreement with other folks and build and create relationship. To have an eclipse in this house shows me that there may be some new pathways emerging for you in regard to that part of your life. I want you to think about a couple of dates, if I may, Scorpio. I want you to cast your mind back to the 19th of November of last year, around that time. And then I want you to think about April 30th of this year, because this eclipse in Taurus is the third in the series. So this slow activation, reactivation process, this slow realignment, reconfiguration of yourself and your relationships is we're kind of, this is terrain that we've gone through before. So maybe there's some similarities, or maybe there's some occurrences that you can think about in regard to those dates, and come to maybe just check yourself and come to understand that whatever difficulty that you might be experiencing, or in regard to relating to other people, that there are lessons here, as fucking hard as it might be, Scorpio, and not lessons that you need to learn because you're a bad person. It's not that at all. But there is hope to be found through the difficulty. Yeah, maybe that's a nice way of saying it. The sun's at 16 degrees of Scorpio, and the tarot card for that's the 6 of Cups, and that's about nostalgia. It's about thinking back, looking back and remembering times gone by and being grateful for them, and taking a little pocket of time to acknowledge and experience the happiness of those memories. The moon's at 16 degrees of Taurus, which is the 6 of Pentacles, which is energy all about giving and receiving, about not feeling embarrassed or vulnerable that you need a helping hand. And then when your cup is full, when you have enough, paying that forward to other folks in a position that you recognize yourself in from before. So there is a nice toing and froing. There is a right relationship that is gently being described by this eclipse. But there is also a squaring off with Saturn in Aquarius again. This isn't the first time that we've talked about this very difficult confrontation of an aspect. I think Saturn is boundaries, restriction. Uranus is rebellion and revolution. So rebellion and revolution in your 7th house, a relationship, and the full moon eclipse being in an exact conjunction with that point might describe to me there might be some emotional upswells in regard to your opinions or your ideas about relationship and how you see them and how you see them working. The restrictive part of this, the boundary, or the Saturn energy that's sitting in Aquarius at 18 degrees. It's not an exact square this time, but it's only a couple of degrees off. It is, I would be reminded of the times gone by when this aspect was happening in the sky. Aquarius for you is your 4th house, which is home and roots and privacy and ancestry. So I can see that the difficulty of this aspect is quite clear to me. I can see a push and pull between the 7th house of relationship and the 4th house of home. I can see a disparity there. I can see, I can see arguments and miscommunication and differing opinions of how these spaces work. And I see this sun in your 1st house, your house of the soul, your house of the self. I see this nostalgia, this glow of nostalgia, perhaps calling back memories from times past when there was harmony in the home or there was harmony in relationship. The 6 of Pentacles is harmony. It's a nice give and receive kind of environment, and that's something that you deserve, Scorpio, in relationship. You deserve to be in relationship with people that give you what you need when you need it and receive what you're offering with kindness and happiness and gratitude. So maybe at this eclipse there might be some emotions, there might be some difficult things that come up in regard to feeling feeling that your offerings weren't respected or weren't held in the regard in which you gave them, which can sting. So I think that, as I said last eclipse, we don't do anything at these things. We just allow it to happen. We allow the emotions to present themselves and to show up, and we do our best to move with the changes and to move on up. I'm going to show you the intuitive tarot that I picked in the intro. So I got the Page of Swords, I got the Tower, and I got the 7 of Cups. So the Tower is quite difficult. The Tower is definitely a bolt out of the blue, an interception of some sense of stability or some foundation that was unexpected, and a force of nature that leveled that foundation, leveled that structure to its foundation in order to build again, because it was not tenable, it was not working. The Page of Swords is someone potentially in your environment that you can think of, someone who is incredibly intelligent, that has a great access to sort of, their cognitive self. They're a very good problem solver and analytical thinker. They're quite young in energy. It doesn't have to be in age, but they're quite sort of, maybe in some ways, maybe a bit blunt, maybe sort of but not in a hurtful way, but in a way that they can't help but tell the truth. That's one way to look at it. This person has not brought deception to your doorstep. They've not brought any lies or manipulation. They've brought, Scout's honour, the truth. And maybe in that way that brought with it this tower moment, that brought with it this ending to a structure that existed before in your relationships, in your home, potentially. As we grieve the losses and as we say goodbye in whatever process that can happen for you, and you take as long as you want to, and this is not anything that needs to be sold and over and done with and put in the back pocket and organised. This is up to you. Grief's tricky. And look, Scorpio, I seem like I'm prophesying. It might be just a change up, a leveling up of the way in which you do relate to folks from now on. That might be something that's maybe like an empowering way to look at this. It's like I actually don't relate to folks the way that maybe I used to anymore, because I've come to a greater level of self actualization and pride in myself, and I don't engage in relationships like this anymore. I don't engage. I have a strong boundary around my privacy now, which is very important to me, and I won't have this pattern emerge anymore in relationship. I need it to be reciprocal. I need to be able to rely on those that rely on me. So it doesn't have to be so much as a dissolution of a relationship. It could be a reconfiguration of the whole thing. It could be something in you that's sort of like, we can move forward from here if you treat me with some regard. Maybe that's it as well. The Seven of Cups is a kind of illusionary moment. It's another Scorpio energy too. So that's the next moment of Scorpio after the nostalgia of the Six of Cups. We come into the Seven of Cups, which is the possibility. It's definitely maybe in a card. It's definitely, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. But it's not that nothing's materialized yet. Nothing's a valid sort of option at the moment, because it's an area of fantasy. It's an area of possibility. So maybe that's what you have to maybe look forward to, Scorpio, after this blunt interception, after this tower that's occurred. And this could be at home, this could be in your seventh house of relationship. But what I see here is that in order to build something that does have a basis in reliability, that does have a strong foundation, we've got to take some time to have a think about what it is that we wish to build, if anything. There's possibilities here. This is what I really see, Scorpio, at the end of eclipse season. These have been very personal eclipses for you. It's been a tightrope walk over 12 months so far, and we're bringing it on home. We're coming around the bend. There'll be a couple more eclipses next year in these particular houses, and then there'll be a sense of reprieve for you. And Saturn will journey on. Saturn will move away from your fourth house, that restriction, which I dare say might be actually a healthy boundary. That's probably how I'm reading it. The Six of Swords is the card of 18 degrees of Aquarius, which is boundaries. We've spoken at length about this, but it might be good to remind you again. I'm not going to predict any dramatic change. So it's sense of foreboding. I don't wish for that to be a part of these readings. I think, and I said to a couple of clients this week, the only reason that we read a birth chart in the first place is to give ourselves a sense of welcome. When times get tough, when things get so confusing and upended in life, and you can't make sense of perhaps the injustice, perhaps the difficulty, perhaps the grief, the sadness. We read a birth chart to remind the person we're reading for, you are welcome here. There's an intricate map of the universe that belongs just to you and you alone. And the alignment of the different planets, your different strengths, where your shadow lays, is all part of you, and it's all beautiful and for a purpose, and it's right here. So I'm going to close out this reading with that sentiment, Scorpio. You belong here, you're welcome here, and we love you with all of the different configurations and shapes and patterns that can be found in this chart, and also in your very self, head to toe. So again, go gentle in eclipse season. You don't have to do anything. Just know that it's happening. Know that that's what's happening in the sky, and you can have this information in your back pocket if things get a bit slippery. Astrology shouldn't be prescriptive. That's probably a really good bit of advice that I was given a while ago by a very good friend of mine, who was describing to me the idea of not maybe leaning in so much to this kind of language is because of the prescriptive nature of it. It's definitely not that. The best way to read this sort of thing is as a welcome. Not you're doomed to suffer this, and this is who you are, and this is how you behave. No. It's like, this is what we're working with, and this is how we can put it to best use. Yeah. On that, Scorpio, head to umaruby.com, go to the readings page, and you can book yourself a fire, water, air, earth, or spirit reading with me. That would be lovely. If you're a return client, I have just published a new version. It's called the Witch Reading. We spend 1 hour with the tarot. We put down some of the astrological jargon away for a moment. I use the chart that I've already read for you as a basis, but we go in with the tarot, and we spend a good hour with the cards and seeing what they might have to say to us. So if you're a return client, you're most welcome to book a witch reading. I'll be speaking to you in 2 weeks for the new moon in Sagittarius. That's a moment where we get to activate again. After a time of our hands being behind our back, we get to enact ritual, ask the universe for what it is we wish to receive. So I look forward to that time with you, Scorpio. I'll speak to you then. Take care. Bye.